Yourself?
Doing well, thank you.
Okay, so what's the Calvert?
Calvert, they're a social responsible mutual fund family out of Bethesda, Maryland. They have mutual funds across all asset classes like stocks, bonds, U.S., international, alternative energy.
And what's the purpose of this fund?
Well, the purpose of the fund obviously is for certain investment goals. So if you are saving for retirement, the funds will help you get there to your goal of saving for retirement.
But you specialize in certain areas of investment?
Well, they have all types of funds, yes. So they have any type of fund pretty much under the sun. The way that they screen their funds is usually what's called a best-in-class approach. So they're taking the environmental, the social, and the governance factors of companies, and they're making sure that they're investing in the best of their peers.
So when we talk about investment, obviously any investment presupposes return.
Yes.
So you invest the money, you expect the return. Okay, that's the nature of business, of investment, right?
Yeah.
So what you're suggesting your clients is that they can get better return by investing into so-called green energy?
No, not necessarily. Green energy is more of a thematic investment. To us, that's not how you define social responsible investing.
Then well, what is it?
Well, it's a process of screening out companies to reduce the risk of your portfolio.
So nothing to do essentially with coal or oil or the type of business that they're energy business?
Typically, they'll avoid industries that may have more risk associated with them.
Like
big oil.
Like Solyndra, for example. Wait, like Solyndra, for example. I mean, that's humongous risk.
Well, absolutely. But that, again, that's a thematic investment. That's not social responsible investing to us. Social responsible investing is to look at a company's records and see which company, for example, has better corporate governance. So is the company divulging how they're actually investing their money, how they actually flow money throughout the corporate structure? Are they hiding anything? Just think of the big financial companies, for example. There were credit default swaps and other types of instruments that really weren't well understood. To a social responsible fund family, that would be a low corporate governance because it's not very clairvoyant, not very clear, excuse me.
So do you think clairvoyant?
I'm sorry, I meant clear. I meant clear.
So where would a company like Solyndra, for example, fall in this list of companies?
Solyndra would be a speculative company that would be a true fund family, neither social responsible or not. Because
so you wouldn't advise your clients to invest in Solyndra then, would you?
Well, unless they really want to. I mean, some people really want to invest in alternative energy. But in terms of financial prudence, no.
Okay. Okay, so like, I talked to a couple of people over here, and it seems like they're bent on sort of making sure that money doesn't go to coal companies or oil companies.
Well, let me put it this way. The roots of social responsible investing were traditionally just focused on meeting one's ethical belief system with their investments. So a lot of people don't want to invest in energy, they don't want to invest in weapons, but the way that the industry has transformed itself, it's now more about reducing the risk by looking at their environmental track record. So do they have compliance problems? Is EPA all over them? Do they have problems overseas with their suppliers in third world countries? Do they have corporate governance problems? That, to most social responsible investing companies, increases risk. And so that is where social responsible investing is moving towards.
Well, the reason I'm sort of asking is because what you're saying is that how it belong to this particular show then? Green, whatever it's called.
Because the whole premise of it is all about reducing risk while also taking a look at the companies that have good environmental track records. So let me give you a different example.
Okay.
If you have a company that is keeping a close eye on its environmental performance, when I say environmental performance, taking a look at how much utilities it's using, taking a look at how it's operational, from a vertical perspective, what energy they're using, how they're recycling. That's financial sense, and it's also energy sense, environmental sense. So it's a win-win for the environment and also the investors.
Well, but to some, what they mean by environment, because there's one thing when it comes to polluting. Obviously, everyone is against polluting,
but
excluding
efficiencies.
CO2.
There's efficiencies.
Well, efficiency. I mean, obviously, everyone wants to be as efficient as possible.
You'd be surprised.
Well, I mean, if you're a capitalist country, that's how it works.
That's right.
In capitalism.
That's right.
But the others, they're concerned about what the particular source of energy is being used. That is, coal is a no-no. Well, let's say fracking is a no-no. So would your firm invest in the companies, which is a booming business right now, like fracking?
Understand. What they would do is they would look at the energy companies that have a better environmental track record.
Yeah, but it's a matter of principle. I mean, fracking is a good business, if you ask my opinion. I mean, that's where the gas is. We need gas.
Right.
Go for it.
Some companies though, would divulge what chemicals they're using in the fracking process. Other companies wouldn't divulge. Some companies may be in the forefront of actually creating the concrete cylinders that go in, so they would have less risk of a blowout.
Okay,
so those companies would be the ones that you'd invest in for that industry.
Okay, fine.
That's the approach.
Fine. I mean, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
So, in other words, you're not against a company that is doing fracking just for the sake of them doing fracking.
That's right.
Okay, because I spoke with a gentleman over there, and he was like...
You have to remember, what's socially responsible to one person is completely different than another. It's almost like a religion.
Okay.
It's not, across the board.
Well, so I thought that we're talking, I mean, it's a good point. Liberalism has become a religion, if you ask my opinion.
Yeah.
So fracking has nothing to do, or global warming has very little to do then with the actual science and the actual data. Like you said, it has become a religion. Well, no, because
climate change, there's good science that supports climate change. I disagree with you on that.
You mean caused by humans?
Right.
So you believe in climate change, which is you really believe in that?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I come from a scientific background, so...
They'll ask me, since you came from a scientific background, I mean, one of the numbers that I was asking the people, I couldn't give you the answer. What causes global warming, allegedly? I mean, based on this religious theory, is the CO2.
Well, no, not that CO2. Climate, it's greenhouse gases. CO2 being one of them.
Okay, let's say one of them, but primarily the point out to CO2, okay? What's the composition of air? I mean, I thought that everyone would know the answer to such a simple question. I mean, the air that we breathe, the air that causes allegedly containing CO2 causes global warming. Being from scientific background, as you said, you know, right? The composition of air that we breathe. Right?
Yes.
So you know the percentage of CO2?
Yes.
And what is it?
It's a small percentage. It's probably...
Like
10%? 15%? The point being, though, is
wait.
Greenhouse gas.
No. Hold on. It's a very important point. I mean, come on, because if we had 10% of CO2 in the atmosphere, you and I would have been dead in seconds.
Why?
Because the air consists of 77% is, you know what?
Nitrogen.
Exactly.
Yes.
22% is what?
Oxygen.
Exactly. Yes. So 77 plus 22 is?
Okay.
Then about 1% is argon. Okay. So 77 plus 22 plus almost 1 is about almost 100. So we have only 0.03% of CO2 in the air that we breathe that allegedly causes global warming.
Okay.
So, I mean, to me, there's no
Well, that's not rational. To me, that's not a rational argument, because it's not a percentage versus, whether it's causing
could be.
Or not.
Yeah, could be.
There's nothing to do with it. First of all, CO2 is not the major greenhouse gas. I mean, there's others that do 10 times more damage.
Like what?
Well, the other, methane is an example. There's other compounds that do.
But there's nothing.
They create, layers
allegedly,
in the atmosphere.
Allegedly. It has nothing to do though with
burning
coal.
Me, are you?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
For my viewing pleasure.
Your viewing pleasure.
And my recording guests.
No, it's from the research that I've studied. It's the greenhouse gases that have been emitted.
But let's. How about? Okay, look. There's
correlated to increasing temperatures.
Can we predict the earthquakes?
No.
So there are certain things that we don't know. There are seismologists. They can be the most brilliant seismologists in the world. There are certain things that we don't know. The point I'm trying to make is that let's assume, for argument's sake, that there are two views. Let's say some say that CO2 causes global warming. It's not settled science. Some say that it don't. But how about common sense? You know, the age of Earth. You know, it's about, what, 4.5 billion years old, okay? Now, if we take a small period of time in the history of the existence of Earth of only 10,000 years, which is nothing. You know what was here, the same exact spot where we are today, 10,000 years ago.
It's glaciers, it was nice.
Exactly.
I understand.
Where are they?
What do you mean?
Where are they? What happened to glaciers?
Well, the climate obviously ebbs and flows over time. There's been you know, warm periods. There's been ice ages. But the point, if you look at the data, and you can go back 400,000 years with ice cores to see the composition of the air, the period that we've had over the last, I don't know, it's been 100 or so years since the Industrial Revolution, they can see what the composition of air is and how it's changed versus the temperatures, and it hasn't changed to that rapid a pace going back for 400,000 years.
Well, let's say that it's flawed data. Let's say that it's not settled science. Or let's assume, for argument's sake, that
to me, it's not a religion. You'd be hard-pressed to find reasonable scientists throughout the world who can really support the fact that, you know, climate change isn't really a potential factor. The vast majority, I think 99% of scientists believe that climate change is a factor.
You know what we call it, climate change?
What's that?
I call it weather. We call it weather, but let's assume. But let's assume, for arguments. Actually, it's not me who said that. It's Mark Levine who said that. I don't know whether you know who he is. No. Okay.
The big difference, obviously, climate change means that some areas of the Earth are getting warmer, some are getting colder. But over the vast majority of the Earth, the temperatures.
Let's assume again, for argument's sake, that you're correct. That CO2 or other pollutants or emitters do cause change of the climate on planet Earth. What are we to do about it? How can we prevent doing that, or prevent that from happening? What would be your solution?
Well, I mean, there's a whole range of solutions, obviously.
Well, 1, 2, 3. Like 3 major steps that we have to make.
To prevent?
To prevent, to rectify, yes.
Well, to prevent, obviously, is to reduce greenhouse gas emission, right?
How?
Well, there's multiple ways. I mean,
like what? Give me one best example.
The best example?
Significantly reduce.
Well, we may be past kind of the point of our turn, but the best example would probably be to reduce emissions
by doing
from
what?
Vehicles.
So stop driving?
No.
Then how can we reduce that?
By changing the type of fuel that you use, as an example.
Like to what?
Increasing.
Wait, like to what specifically?
Okay. Like to natural gas.
Like natural gas. Okay, well, but people are against fracking. We're going to get natural gas.
I don't care about people. I'm talking. You're asking me. Anyways, we can agree to disagree.
All right.
Agree to disagree.
Okay. Well, nice talking to you anyway.
All right.